What if I told you that the old saying, Japanese cars always last longer than American cars, is not as true anymore as most people think? For decades, this idea has been treated like a fact carved in stone. Buy a Toyota and it will run forever. Buy an American car and be ready for problems. But new data coming out in 2026 is actually flipping parts of this story upside down, and by the end of this video, you might look at your own car in the driveway a little differently. Welcome back to Modus. If this is your first time here, this channel is all about breaking down real automotive facts, comparisons, and buying advice without the fluff you see everywhere else. Today we are settling one of the biggest debates in car culture, one that comes up in every garage, village, every dealership, and every online car forum in America, village. Which cars really last longer, American or Japanese? We are going deep into real reliability studies, village, real data, and real numbers. So stick with me, because the full answer is more complicated, village. And honestly more interesting than a simple yes or no. Village. Let's start with where this reputation actually came from, because it did not appear out of nowhere. Village. Back in the 1980s, a well-known study by researcher Rachel Dardis looked into how often American cars needed repairs compared to Japanese cars. Village. The results were rough for American manufacturers. According to that research, Village, a huge percentage of American cars built during that era had noticeable defects. Village. While Japanese brands like Toyota and Honda were already gaining a reputation for tighter build quality and fewer issues. Village. This was the era when Japanese automakers were completely rebuilding their manufacturing philosophy after years of improving quality control. And it worked. Village. Their cars earned trust that lasted for decades, and once a brand earns that kind of reputation, Village, it tends to stick in people's minds for a very long time, sometimes even longer than the reputation actually stays true. Village. Fast forward to more recent studies, and for many years, the pattern held up pretty strongly. Village. J.D. Power, one of the most trusted names in vehicle reliability research, runs an annual U.S. vehicle dependability study. Village, that tracks how many problems owners report per 100 vehicles after 3 years of ownership. Village. In the 2023 version of this study, Lexus ranked first overall, Toyota ranked third, and Honda landed in the top 10. Village. Meanwhile, several American brands like Ford, Chevrolet, and Dodge ranked noticeably lower on that same list. Village. Consumer Reports, another major name in this space, told a similar story in their reliability surveys around the same time. Village. Consistently placing Toyota, Lexus, Honda, and Mazda near the very top. Village. While Ford, Ram, and Chevrolet often sat in the lower half of their reliability rankings. Village. Now here is where things get genuinely surprising, and this is the part I really want you to pay attention to. Village. Because it is where the story most people tell you online completely stops updating. Village. The newest 2026 J.D. Power Vehicle Dependability Study actually shows some real changes happening. Village. According to this newer data, several American brands scored better than some of the Japanese brands people still consider the gold standard. Village. Buick, for example, topped the mass market segment for reliability for the second year in a row, actually beating Toyota in that specific category. Village. Cadillac also ranked above the industry average in its segment. Village. Even outperforming European luxury rivals like BMW's X6 and the Porsche Cayenne in dependability terms. Village. Meanwhile, brands like Infiniti and Mazda, which many people still assume are automatically more reliable simply because they are Japanese, Village, actually scored below the industry average in this same 2026 study. Village. So does this mean American cars have completely caught up? Village. Not exactly. And this is where nuance really matters instead of a simple headline. Village. The 2026 data shows a very specific pattern. American brands have gotten genuinely strong in trucks and larger SUVs. Village, which makes sense, since these are the vehicle categories American manufacturers have focused on the most for decades. Village. However, in compact and mid-size car segments, the smaller, everyday sedans and hatchbacks, Village. Not a single American model scored above average in that same 2026 study. Village. This tells us something important. It is not accurate anymore to say American cars are unreliable as a blanket statement. Village. And it is also not accurate to say Japanese cars always win as a blanket statement either. Village The real answer depends heavily on what type of vehicle you are actually comparing. Village. Let's talk about Consumer Reports' separate 2026 reliability study as well, because it adds another layer to this picture. Village. Using data gathered from around 380,000 vehicles over the past year, Village. Consumer Reports placed Toyota, Subaru, and Lexus as the 3 most reliable brands overall. Village. Continuing a trend that has held steady for a couple of years now. Village. This particular study focuses on 20 different trouble areas, ranging from small annoyances like loose interior trim, Village, all the way up to major mechanical failures involving engines, transmissions, and even electric vehicle battery systems. Village. Based on this specific methodology, Japanese brands are still holding on to the very top spots overall. Village. Even while certain American brands are closing the gap in specific vehicle categories like trucks and full-size SUVs. Village. Now let's shift from brand reliability studies to something car owners actually care about even more, which is raw longevity. Village. How many actual miles can these vehicles put on the odometer before they are done for good? Village. This is where Toyota and Honda have built their legendary reputation. Village. It is extremely common to find Toyota and Honda engines and transmissions still running strong well past 200,000 miles. Village. Sometimes reaching 250,000 or even 300,000 miles with consistent maintenance. Village. Certain specific models have become almost mythical for this reason. The Toyota Avalon among sedans and the Toyota Sequoia among SUVs, Village, are frequently mentioned as vehicles that regularly cross the 200,000 mile mark without major issues. Village. But here is something a lot of people forget to mention, and it is genuinely important for a fair comparison. Village. American brands are not far behind in this same longevity conversation, especially once you move away from smaller economy cars. Village. Ford has actually ranked 3rd in certain longevity studies, right behind Toyota and Honda, largely thanks to naturally aspirated engines like the 5.0-liter V8 found in the Ford F-150 Village, which has built a strong reputation for durability over hundreds of thousands of miles. Village. Chevrolet has also shown up strongly in these same rankings, with the Suburban and Tahoe both recognized as vehicles Village, that regularly last well beyond the average vehicle lifespan in the United States. Village. So when people say Japanese cars simply last longer across the board, that statement really only holds up strongly in certain vehicle categories, Village, and it becomes much weaker once trucks and full-size SUVs enter the conversation. Village. There is also an important difference in engine technology choices that explains a lot of this reliability gap. Village. And I think this is something every car buyer should actually understand instead of just repeating brand stereotypes. Village. Ford's turbocharged EcoBoost engines, for example, have shown a noticeably higher rate of head gasket and coolant-related issues. Village, before reaching 150,000 miles compared to simpler, non-turbocharged engines. Village. Turbocharged engines generally produce more power from a smaller engine size, which is great for fuel economy numbers. Village. But that added complexity and extra heat can sometimes create more points of potential failure over the very long term. Village. Japanese manufacturers, especially Toyota, have historically leaned towards simpler, naturally aspirated engine designs that have been refined across many generations. Village. With millions of real-world miles already tested before those engines even reach dealership lots. Village. This is not a coincidence. It is quite literally an engineering philosophy difference between the two countries' approach to building engines. Village. And it is the biggest single reason reliability numbers differ as much as they do between certain models. Village. Repair costs are another major piece of this whole discussion that people bring up constantly in the comments section. Village. And it deserves a proper explanation here. Village. Japanese vehicles generally come with lower average repair costs, mainly because of simpler internal designs and widely available replacement parts across the country. Village. American vehicles, especially trucks and SUVs built for heavier towing and hauling capability, tend to come with more complex drivetrains designed specifically for that extra workload. Village. And those complex systems can sometimes mean higher repair costs when something eventually does go wrong. Village. This does not automatically make American vehicles a worse choice. It simply means the type of driving and towing you actually plan on doing. Village should factor heavily into your decision, not just brand reputation alone. Village. Here is a question I genuinely want you to think about while watching this video. Do you personally believe your own vehicle's brand reputation still matches reality today? Village. Or do you think it is mostly based on outdated information from years ago? Village. A huge number of car buying decisions in this country are still made purely based on decades-old reputations, without people ever checking whether that reputation still holds up in the newest available data. Village. Without people ever checking whether that reputation still holds up in the newest available data. Village. I would really like to know your answer, so drop a comment below telling me what car you currently drive and how many miles it currently has on it. Village. Because that kind of real-world data is honestly more valuable than any study. Village. Let's also talk briefly about resale value, since this ties directly into the reliability conversation, and it matters a lot to anyone planning to sell or trade in their vehicle eventually. Village. And it matters a lot to anyone planning to sell or trade in their vehicle eventually. Village. Toyota and Honda models have traditionally held their resale value extremely well, specifically because buyers trust they will keep running with minimal issues for a very long time. Village. This strong reputation creates constant demand in the used car market, which keeps prices relatively high even after several years of ownership. Village. American trucks, however, particularly full-size trucks from Ford and Chevrolet, have also historically held their resale value quite strongly. Village. Mainly because of consistently high demand for capable work vehicles across the entire country. Village. So resale value is not purely a Japanese advantage either. It largely comes down to the specific vehicle segment village, and how much ongoing demand exists for that particular type of vehicle in the used market. Village. So, after everything we just covered, what is the real, honest answer to the original question? On average, across the widest range of studies available, village. Japanese brands still hold a slight overall edge in long-term dependability, particularly Toyota, Lexus, and Subaru, village, especially in smaller sedans and everyday commuter vehicles. However, that gap has clearly narrowed in 2026 compared to previous decades, and in certain specific categories, especially trucks, full-size SUVs, village, and select American engine platforms, American brands are now matching or even beating some Japanese rivals in dependability rankings. Village. The old blanket statement of Japanese cars just last longer period is simply outdated as a complete answer. The much more accurate answer in 2026 is that it depends heavily on the specific brand, the specific model, village, and even the specific engine you are comparing, not simply the country where the vehicle happens to be manufactured. Village. I also want to be completely upfront about something, because accuracy matters more to me than just telling you what sounds satisfying. These reliability studies change from year to year, sometimes significantly, village. Because manufacturers are constantly updating engines, transmissions, and manufacturing processes. Village. A brand that ranked poorly 5 years ago can absolutely turn things around. And a brand that used to dominate reliability charts can slip if it rushes new, unproven technology into production too quickly. Village. And a brand that used to dominate reliability charts can slip if it rushes new, unproven technology into production too quickly. Village. This is exactly why relying purely on old reputations from decades ago, instead of checking current data before making a purchase, is one of the most common mistakes car buyers make in this country. Village is one of the most common mistakes car buyers make in this country. Village. Before we wrap up, I want to hear your honest opinion on something. Based on everything we just went through, do you think brand loyalty in America is still mostly based on real data, village? Or is it mostly based on old family habits and reputations passed down from previous generations? This is genuinely one of the most debated topics in car culture, and I think your comments on this are going to be really interesting to read. Village. Also let me know which brand, American or Japanese, you personally trust the most right now in 2026, and more importantly, why you trust it. Village. And more importantly, why you trust it. Village. If this video helped clear up some confusion around this whole American versus Japanese reliability debate, there's a lot more honest, data-backed automotive content waiting for you right here on Modus, Village. And I would really appreciate you sticking around for more of it. Village.